On today's episode, we've got Sam Kennedy of Poly, formerly known as Plantronics, to help us break down the future of work and what technologies should be deployed in the workspace. But let's get to the heart of what we're here to do, which is tell the people what's going on with the future of work with so much changing in the last 12 to 16 months. Sam Kennedy.
Well,
Sam,
thank you.
welcome.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Happy to be
Oh,
here.
all right. Thank you for coming back on. We love having you.
My pleasure.
All right, Sam. Well, before we get into all of the good technology stuff, I want to show you something. I want to show you a video, just like last time. I had a video for you. This time I've got another one. I now want to get your thoughts on the other side of the video and see what you think. Go ahead, Ori.
Can be that dramatically different.
And you personally have had it with Zoom, right?
Yeah, I'm about to cancel all my Zoom meetings. I just think I'm done with it.
Okay, so this is Jamie Dimon. I didn't tee it up, but I'll tell you, this is Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan. He was asked about remote work, technologies, and he had a lot more to say at the end of that didn't sound, well, I would say I wouldn't agree with. But I wanted to see what you thought about just what you saw there.
Sure. Well, my first, it was just a little small sound clip,
Yes.
and I'd say that on some level I can understand where he's coming from in that 100% of meetings being video meetings. I'm just as frustrated as he is, as somebody who's dedicated 25 years into video collaboration. I'm ready to get back and see people and be like in the presence of actual other human beings. I love working from home, but being able to actually get and see people that I work with and see customers and see partners and see you guys live, I can't wait for that. So, I think maybe he was just being, not saying that I would do 100% away with the video collaboration type meetings, but
Right.
maybe more along the lines of, hey, it would be great that we could get together here and there. And, video was always kind of meant as that in between, right? Where I'm seeing you on a more regular basis, and then in between when I see you, we do video meetings. And I think there's we all desperately need to get back to that on some level. But desktop video is not going away ever again. We're finally here, but it's not, nor was it ever really meant to replace 100% of meetings.
Yeah,
Well,
really
Dave.
good point on that. I think a lot of folks that are writing about this whole work from home, we're not trying to replace, we're not trying to send technology out there to replace these in-person meetings, these networking opportunities. It's just there to complement what they're doing. I love the idea of a hybrid workplace, because like you're saying, you can still have that one-on-one, you can still get in there. There's still, a lot of things that video might not necessarily lend a ton of value for the networking and the spontaneity of those things, but it doesn't have to be one or the other. Bringing video in to just add, just bring some value to the whole working environment. And I think having that conversation with the CEOs of, we're not trying to replace it with technology. We're just trying to help enhance it.
I agree, Dave, 100%. And Jamie Dimon went on to say that, and you didn't see it because it was in the rest of the clip. He said it doesn't work, and it's really terrible for spontaneity and creativity. Which you didn't see that there on the clip, but that's what he went on to say. And I know for us, we've been remote even before the pandemic. It just gets used to being, working with people in a different way. We had to, by circumstance, all of us had to work from home, the ones that could, but we didn't. Who knows what's going to happen? 2-3 years from now, things could change. We may have something like this or something else. Why would you want to stifle the deployment of technology among a workforce when it only makes you more resilient?
Yeah, and I don't know. I would argue that that's what he ultimately means, and that he's like, get rid of it 100%, because no matter what, you're going to have people. I mean, they're one of the largest organizations in the world, and not everybody that works for JP Morgan is going to be in the same building. And so the reality is that desktop video is going to continue to be here. But, you know, I work for a company, we're a manufacturer of video and headsets and phones, and, you know, inherently the products we make are to enable people to be collaborative. And so we're huge users of this technology. But there's absolutely, I could give lots of examples even internally where we have a problem. If we could all get into the same room, we could collaborate and get and solve this problem in a way that we can't remotely, right? We all have that. And so by no means is video meant to get rid of in-face meetings. It's an adjunct to that.
Augment, yeah, for sure.
It's augment, yeah.
Let me ask you about something, because that's the thing. If the people in organizations are all trying to wrestle with right now, because, you know, a lot of folks that are vaccinated are going back into the office, is where are things going? I mean, you talk to clients, you support other folks in the channel as well that sell your solutions. What are they telling you that's happening? Because I think that's what people want to know. What are other folks doing? I mean, there's a lot of flavors of the hybrid and remote, but what are you hearing?
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of customers figuring out their strategy about how to get back to the office. And so there's a lot of organizations that are working on their plans. You can see and I know we're probably going to talk about it at some point, we just made an announcement of a new product called the E70 that's much more targeted to those large rooms. And that's what we're hearing a lot more, where if this was 3 years ago, it was huddle room, huddle room, huddle room. Like, that's the thing that everybody wanted to talk about. Now we're spending a lot more time talking about how do we enable large rooms.
And why is that, Sam? Why is that?
I think social distancing has a large part. As people go back to the office, I don't want to cram as many people into a small. It's you know, we've been joking over the last 18 months that the large room is the huddle room of the future, at least for the near term, right? In that I may have only got, you know, 4, 5, 6 people in my huddle room in the past. And for the next maybe 12 months, I may only get 5, 6 people in my largest conference rooms. And so we're hearing a lot more organizations. And I would say the other thing is we're just hearing where in the past, video was in 5% of rooms, 10% of rooms. I had collaboration tools in 5 to 10% of rooms. We're absolutely seeing a big shift on how do I video enable and collaboration enable every single room within my organization. And there's a lot of that. How do I, when my users are going to get back, people are going to be hybrid. There's going to be a lot of people working from home. There's going to be a lot of people working from wherever. How do I video and collaboration enable all these rooms? That would be one of the big trends. The other thing that we're seeing a lot, I have to talk about this an awful lot to customers, is how do we democratize or equalize the experience? How do we deliver a more modernized experience? How do I make it so that I've been doing desktop video? Now, when I get back to the office, I don't want to see all tables and walls. I want to actually be able to see people. So they're talking to us a lot about some more advanced technologies. The other thing I would mention is there's a lot of organizations that through the pandemic switched platforms, modernized their platforms. I meet with lots of companies that were Skype pre-pandemic, had to run to get to Teams or had to run to get to Zoom, or they were WebEx and now they're Zoom. You see a lot of customers that change platforms at the desktop level. They made that move, so everyone's on Zoom, Teams. You pick your platform of choice, but they haven't modernized their office for their users. And so as they're starting to figure out their strategy of what do they do for phones when they go back to the office? What do they do for video devices? So we're talking to customers about how to modernize and get everything up to speed to connect to their native platform as quickly as they can. So we're pretty busy. We're pretty busy. Our partners are pretty busy at the moment.
Do you think, you said desktop and in the large conference room space and huddle rooms, which is so fascinating because that's where the action was at previously. Prior to pandemic, was all the action was in the huddle space, and folks are going to be at their workstation. Are people or organizations telling you that they're also going to enable those workstations to also carry video? You know, your P5s or even the 15s, or other solutions around the workstation itself.
Absolutely. So the more people that are remote, the more people that are even in the office need to do desktop video. And so therefore, yeah, absolutely, products like the P5, P15. We are now shipping the P21, which is our desktop video solution. It's a bring your own device. Think of it like a monitor. I have one sitting. That's why I look over there. It's a monitor with the web poly level audio, video. A lot of our innovations built in. You could charge your mobile phone off of it. Has vanity lights built into the side, and so we're seeing just pretty much across the board all our products, all the different headsets that we make. We're seeing growth in pretty much every category that we're in, because again, as people are going back to and I need multiple solutions. People are getting back to the office. I need a solution for my in the office. I need a solution for my my desktop video at home, my work from home. And so we're really seeing growth across the board in all these different types of solutions.
I can't agree with you more, but I wanted to confirm, because I haven't been able to talk to you about this, and we're hearing the same thing, that organizations are just rethinking work, period. And that's why we titled this The Work to the Future, because if you're going back into the office is not the same place where the type of work that you were doing before. I think it's radically changed. And those people that say that it's not are probably going to hear that very loud from both remote workers as well as customers. I mean, every organization has customers, and customer preferences change the way you do business. I mean, I'm the first one that I would love to get back and see every single customer on a plane and hit the road. But, a lot of folks are finding out that's not as efficient. So you're rethinking when you need to travel, and to make it really essential. Okay, yeah, I got to go see that client. We got to go sign that contract. We got to go butter them up, and let's go have a dinner with them and see if we can get them on the right track to signing that contract. But every week to go out on the road, maybe not. That's not such a good idea anymore.
I typically did, for probably the last 10 years, I've did about 150,000 miles in the air. And yeah, and
you had an address in the
just
sky.
Completely inefficient, right? When I'm like driving to the airport, I'm on the plane in the air, right? I mean, I'd maybe get Wi-Fi, but I was just not as productive as I was. I was tired. I've never been healthier, as I'm able to exercise more. I can eat better. And not to say that I don't want to go travel and meet customers. I cannot wait to go visit customers.
I can't wait to come. You're in Connecticut, right? I can't wait to come up to Connecticut and drive up 95 to come see you.
Yeah, I don't really want to drive up 95. Yeah. But again, being able to see people, I cannot wait to do it. But I meet with so many more customers. I would one thing that comes to mind for me is that demonstrations. We used to bring, and not to say that demonstrations like live in the same room are not going to go away. Of course, they will come back. But one thing that Poly did a really nice job of is our executive experience center. I forget whatever the proper term is for them, but I think of it as our demo team. Completely evolved during the pandemic, and we do as many we probably do more demos now remotely, and almost as good as we ever did when everyone was in the same room. So it's the reality is I can meet with a lot more customers. I can potentially be a lot more effective. I'm a lot happier. I'm going to go to my daughter's field hockey game tonight. So I'm just personally a lot happier, right? So again, I can't wait to be in the presence of other people that I work with, but there's just so much goodness of being remote, at least a significant part of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win-win. You're being more efficient for the company. You're more effective with your clients, and being able to be back at home with your family. I mean, that's so important. So with the product stuff in mind, so Poly has this new video, the video room system, the E70. We've had a chance to see some online demos on this product. Really excited to learn more about it and start offering it for the conference room. Let's talk about that. So this thing is loaded with a ton of options and features.
Mm-hmm. It sure is, and it looks very slick. Like, I was trying to figure out what to call it. I know you guys call it the Studio E70, but it looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie that Matt Damon would have taken to Mars.
Our design team is just they're doing amazing work, and really it's been awesome to see how they've really redefined Poly, and how how much power we're able to get in such a small little device. It's a great. There's what do you want me to say? I can go all day about
No,
it.
and that's what I wanted to say was the form factor is quite small. If you go back, 5 or 6, 7 years ago, that thing would have been 4 or 5 times the size to get that similar type of technology into that device.
Yeah, we get a lot of because we also have the Eagle Eye Director too, and so there's a lot of customers that come to us and say, I want that similar capability, but I need a much more smaller form factor. I need a much more modern look and feel, and that's so from a design perspective. Yeah, we nailed it with the E70.
I am amazed. We did some demos several weeks ago on the P5, and what I wanted to ask you about it was not so much on the P5, but on the lenses. We saw that under low light conditions, so no ring light of any kind, no real studio lights like I have here, we were able to get really crisp images under low light condition. And quite frankly, when we turned on the lights, we had to adjust the settings in the Poly Lens app to compensate for the light that was out there because it was doing such a good job under low light conditions. Does the E70 have that similar technology built in?
I mean, it's definitely a different use case, right? It's targeted for larger rooms, but absolutely, it works. It has I think you'll be very pleased with how good the quality of how well it works. I would tell you, I'm involved in almost every demo that we've ever done on the E70, and we've had a couple of customers that during the demo they literally will ask us to turn the lights off just to see how well it works in low light environments, and it's shockingly good. That would not be out of all the things that I think about the E70. I wouldn't go that's the highlight of it. But if you talk about how well it works in low light environments, it does do a great job.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so that's a good thing. So I want to ask you, there are a bunch of options on the market out there. Why should customers? That's the first thing. Any customer, hey, what do you? Oh, I've got something here. It's okay. It works. It's fine. Why should they consider the E70 and say, "Yep, that's the device that I need right now"?
Sure. Let me talk again. I'm at heart, I'm a product guy, right? So I'm a product guy and a user guy, and so I kind of talk about some of the things that are top of mind for me on the E70. Just not prepared, just going off the top of my head of what I love about the product. So first of all, the camera, it has 2 lenses, each with their own sensor. The lenses are so each lens is a 20 megapixel lens. So it's very high quality. The quality of the resolution of the colors are extremely vibrant. Now the bottom lens is 120-degree wide angle field of view, so it's going to be able to cover that wide room. If it's a room full of people, you're going to be able to get that. Where the lens on the top is a narrow field of view.
We're about to.
And so it's going to be able to give you that high quality, again, up to that 25-foot space. It switches between the lens. It's all that great poly goodness built into it from a camera tracking, framing, zooming. All that happens automatically. It's very impressive of all the artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities built into it.
Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Sure.
Those are serious buzzwords now with a bunch of stuff, with a bunch of software, gaming, AI. What is happening there with the AI inside this particular product?
There's multiple things that are happening simultaneously on the camera, and that's how we're able to deliver this really great experience. First, we're doing a SSL, sound source locator. So if you see the little dots as the video's playing, there's a little bunch of, you can see the little dots there. Those little dots are microphones. So those microphones are really twofold. Number one, they're looking for the active speaker in the room, right? So it's identifying where the active speaker is, and those microphones can also be sent to the audio to the far end. But the primary use case is to figure out who the active speaker is. We're also doing I'll call it facial recognition, but it's probably not properly facial recognition. Not facial recognition of recognizing a face, but we're identifying a person. It's more like a person identifier because we actually do a lot more than just identifying a face. We're identifying, if you were to look at the debug, you can see that we're identifying the whole part of a person. So we're identifying the person. We're matching it up with the SSL, that sound source locator, and that way we're able to do camera framing, the framing of the people that are in the room, or active speaker tracking, and so we're able to see we're able to do both of those. It's really just how you have your endpoint configured. So you get all that great camera tracking, framing, zooming. But the real value here with this E70 is there's no moving parts. Now, you actually just saw the one moving part. There's the mechanical shutters that open and close. But as far as the camera is concerned, there's no moving parts. You get all that great camera tracking, framing on the users, but you never get that intimidation factor that an optical zoom camera gives you, where the camera head's moving around and people start to get freaked out. I mean, like even me, I did
PTZ.
Yeah, with PTs, with a mechanical pan, tilt, and zoom optical zoom camera, and we've had these for years, and we still have them, and we sell them, and they're great in certain use cases. But the reality is the camera's moving around. When the camera zooms in on you, you as a user, it catches your eye. You start to become intimidated. You act differently, and that's exactly what we don't want to happen, right? You don't want your users to ever. The technology needs to be completely transparent. And that's one thing that the E70 gives you, is the technology hides away, and now you're just having your meeting. And that's, I think, the biggest differentiator, is that it's a digital, high quality, up to 25 feet, but it's a digital zoom, and therefore you never get any of that intimidation factor.
That's funny. You know, I can't keep my eyes off it. I really can't. It's such an attractive piece. So obviously, just to piggyback on what Rolando was saying, there is a lot of options that are out there. There's a lot of brands that are out there. But aside from the device itself, tell the viewers, you know, what sets Poly apart from some of your competitors?
Yeah, I think what the real differentiator for us, I mean, there's a couple of things that come to mind. That Poly has the full portfolio of devices, from headsets to phone to video devices. So the fact that we have that, we can be that end-to-end provider for no matter which ecosystem you are, I think that's a huge differentiator. But I think core to us, what's in our DNA versus our competitors, is our emphasis and focus on the user experience. In that, you know, no matter which platform that you pick, obviously we love Microsoft and Teams, and obviously we love Zoom, and we love many of the others out there. But I think our focus and emphasis on driving the end user experience, I think, really differentiates us. And our focus around things like the audio and our innovations around video. There's another thing on the E70 that is just so subtle, but when you see it, you're gonna go, why I've never seen this before. When the camera switches from one speaker to the next, it does this dissolve. It is one of the most eye-appealing things that I've seen in the industry in years. And it's just so simple and so subtle, but it's those innovations that Poly is driving that I think differentiate us. Another one, we are right now the only manufacturer in the world, I know others are making claims, but we are the only ones right now that are doing smart gallery with Zoom. We are delivering this on the X30 and the X50 today. And so our emphasis and focus around the end user, I think, really differentiates us from anyone else out there.
Well said. I mean, I love what you guys are doing with the slate of products that you've come out with, the E70, the 15, the P5, now the P21. I was just told that we have some stock that we just got today. So
nice.
Yes, I know. So if you are one of those organizations that you're looking for some of these solutions, we're going to have links in the description so that you can go to it, get it. Or if you have questions and you want to contact us before you buy, we could set up one of those demos that Sam is talking about and make sure that you're getting exactly what you need for your needs. So Sam, you were talking about a few things that really caught my attention. The ability for this to track people that are in a room. I know that there is a video, I don't know if we have it, Ori, where it shows that capability. And I am really amazed at how well you're able to actually jump to the person from one person to the next without having to pan to that person with the E70. And that really caught my attention, especially if you're in a room where you have people spread out through, there we go. Thank you, Ori. That's the one so we're going to show some of that there, that capability where you actually can track that person as they're moving in the room. I believe that's the video. Is that right, Ori? Okay, so and plus we're going to show this one as well. The Sync 660, which it's really, I like the 20. There you go. There's the 60 right there. You were telling me we haven't been able to put it into my hands yet, but the sound quality on it, might as well start going into talking about that anyways. The sound quality on the Sync 60 is just off the charts.
Yeah, and I think on all the sync products, the sound is off the charts. I think it really comes down to your use case. If the 20 is more of a mobile type of a user, as I was mentioning to you guys earlier, that I have, I'm lucky enough that I have two 40s because I daisy chain them and listen to music. But I think as a guy who I have access to everything we make, as you can imagine, I think there's not a product I use more than the Sync 40. These devices go with me pretty much everywhere I am in my house. I'm just in love with them. The 60 is a little large. You can see the kind of size difference. The 60 is really much more of a target. The use case is targeted at, say, small to medium-sized conference rooms. It has a 3-meter mic pickup, and there's no battery. In the Sync 60, so it does require power.
Let's not gloss over that, so that customers know on the 40 you're going to get that rechargeable battery, and on the 60 you need that dedicated power supply plugged into it.
Correct. So it does need that power plugged in. It does support Bluetooth, so you can connect to it that way. But so it does have some wireless capabilities. But inherently, it's again the use. I would tell you personally, it'd be a little large to be carrying around in my bag. So I'm not that upset that this thing doesn't have a battery in it. The 40 is just, this thing is, it's from a. I'll give you another. I'm on vacation next week. I'm going to the beach for a week, and
nice.
I'm going to be bringing the 40 with me on the beach. It's just the 30-hour battery life on the 40s.
And can you charge the smartphone on that one?
And I can charge my mobile phone off of the device. It has a USB-A port there, so I can charge my mobile device. Has USB-A and C built in.
I'm not aware of other devices that are out there doing that, so you don't have to worry about running out of your battery on your mobile device.
Now, one other thing I think it's important to mention to your viewers is now again, I use them. I'm at home, so I tend to use these devices as a personal device. Even the 60 I use as a personal device because I'm in my home. The 40 and the 60 are now empty. The 40 can be a user. The 20 is really a user device. The 40 is a user as a personal as well as a small, medium-sized conference room. 60 is really a conference room solution. The 40 and the 60 did just receive MTR for Windows certification. So for those Teams environments, for the Microsoft Teams room on Windows certification, they've already been Teams certified as an end user. But now if you have a Microsoft Teams room in your conference room and you need a really nice audio solution, both the 40 and 60 are now supported devices. So they're not just Teams certified, they're MTR for Windows certified. So that's the real differentiator for us. It's for those customers that want MTR for Windows in their conference room, having a really high-end great audio device can be a challenge. We know that there are some solutions out there. Again, when you pick a peripheral for your MTR for Windows, you really need to make sure that it's MTR for Windows certified. The 40 and 60 are have now received that certification.
Right, and something you told us before we got on here was that the Sync 40 has the ability to pair up more than one device. So if you're in a room, maybe you want that wireless capability as well as the recharging capability. You could use this two Sync 40s in a larger conference room or a larger space, and they work simultaneously and seamlessly.
And same with the 60, you can do two 60s as well. So if you need, the 40s have a 2.5 meter mic pickup radius, right? So rather large area is what it's supported, and I would tell you it works even beyond that. I mean, the mic pickup is just absolutely phenomenal. But think the 60 has a 3 meter mic radius, so I mean you can get some really rather large rooms in a pretty cost effective, high quality experience, pretty cost effective way by just daisy chaining these guys.
And they look really easy to use.
They look great.
I like the versatility of the 40s because you can accommodate smaller rooms. And should they have that one meeting, the quarterly review where now you're putting in another 10 or 15 people or participants, if they have two 40s, they might not necessarily have purchased that 60, put two 40s in the room, and that'll.
Yeah, I like one of the
the
things that I
place.
think is really nice on the 40s is because they're wireless, right? They kind of hit a couple of use cases there. But for those small medium-sized conference rooms that where the tables change like constantly, right? I have, everyone has those conference rooms where you're like, you know what, it's agile conference room, and so today it's going to look like this, and the next meeting it's going to look like this, and the next meeting it's going to look like this. So maybe I have these sitting over by the shelf on the side of the room. It's time for my meetings. I pick them up, put them wherever I need to, and then bring them back. And it's it just that those movable conference rooms, I think these Sync 40s are just absolutely perfect for.
That's good. Hey, you kind of touched upon it at the beginning of the conversation. Do you see offices changing the way that they kind of set up cubicles and open spaces? Right now, it's been quite a while. It's been 16 months since I've stepped foot in there, but some of these offices might start changing. Are you seeing that people are kind of going to a more open concept? Or
yeah, it's interesting. I think things are coming back from an open comp. I think we're seeing a little bit of people figuring it out yet. So I don't know that it's all kind of solidified as to here's what it's going to look like. I think a lot of people are trying lots of things. Like I said, I think on the technology side, it's been a lot of modernization of getting my technology to where back in the office to where we've been, like catching it all back up. As far as the spaces themselves, I'm seeing pretty much everything. I hear again, we talk about the P21 earlier. We're seeing a big uptick in that because a lot of customers are looking at, I need lots more phone booths. I see a lot more of
Interesting.
Where people are going to do a couple of days in the office versus instead of having to be there every day. And so there's going to be a lot more hoteling. But on the flip side, if I'm hoteling, I'm typically using shared devices. One of the things that Poly struck up a partnership with. I can't think of the Microband. Sorry, it took me a second there. So we just struck up a partnership with Microband. So Microband's now built into a lot of our devices, like our VVX phones, so that you feel a little bit more comfortable, right? By having that antimicrobial technology built into these shared devices, it helps with some of that confidence.
So the Microband solution is on the handsets as well as the buttons on the phone?
Correct, yes.
Interesting. Well, that's I didn't know that, man. That's a pretty cool thing. And that's on the entire VVX line?
It's on the entire VVX and CCX line. It's on the CCX line. It may or may not be on the VVX. I talk to you.
I've got a VVX over here. You can't see it. That's what.
Well,
that's
it wouldn't be.
It
wouldn't be. It would be one of the. You'd have to. It would be a new purchase
Gotcha.
of
Gotcha.
one of those devices.
That's good to know. So it's on. If you're buying phones, Poly is the way to go. You got that Microband technology, so it's like 99.99 effective against killing viruses and stuff. So that's cool. That is a cool thing. I want to ask you. I want to shift a little bit, shift some gears here, because we want to tee up about the mistakes now that we want to avoid. There are customers, you're saying they're maybe going hybrid, they'll be going remote. There's new toys and there's new technology on the market. There's new platforms. What are you seeing that the top three things as you're talking to clients, you're advising them on this new technology, this new way of work? What are some of the top three things that you see that they should know, that you see others clients making mistake that maybe we can avoid and help our audience out so that they get a deployment that's going to be seamless and it's going to fit their needs?
Yeah, a couple of things that just top of mind for me is number one, you want enterprise grade solutions. I would definitely coming in remotely, it's your brand, and you want to be able to project the best experience you possibly can. And so therefore, you want something pretty high quality, and you want the right tool for the job. I'd say normally I don't wear headset. I work for a headset manufacturer, but I have so many different types of devices. I don't wear a headset every single day. But I'm coming on your call. I want to deliver the best experience possible. So I'm wearing a headset for this call. It is the right tool for this job. And so therefore, and you can see, I mean, I have a high quality level of headset, right?
Yep.
You don't, I'm not wearing AirPods. Now AirPods are fine, right? And if I'm going to be on a call for, 10 minutes a day, then probably AirPods are going to be successful. But if I'm on calls for hours during the day, and I want to project a really great experience, those microphones in there are not, they're meant to call my mom, right, or meant to call my wife, but they're
And
not.
you're right about that, Sam, because we did a whole episode around that a while back ago, and we did head to head with the AirPods and other solutions, and they just, they're beautiful, right? They're nice. I have a pair that I use. They're great for listening to music.
They're
But from an-
trendy. Everyone knows how great you are because you have the Apple
Yeah.
bud hanging out of your ear.
Right, but I would love to get your thoughts on this because almost everybody, when you see them on interviews, because they use whatever they have off the street to do remote interviews with all kinds of guests, you see those AirPods and the audio just is not good, and maybe they don't know it because they hear well, but they don't know how they're projecting their voice to the other side.
It's such a pet peeve of mine to watch them wear AirPods and they don't have a good experience, and then again, that's their brand. It's their brand that they did, and we have again. It's one of I'm a big user of the P15. I love the P15. If you don't want to wear a headset, P15 is awesome, and it's when you think about how much the P15 really costs, even the Sync 20, right? If you don't want to wear a headset, there's amazing alternatives right now that are not these cost significantly less than AirPods do. And again, I listen to music on it, so it's like if you think of just getting yourself a high quality experience, a good camera, a good video device, and we have so many different options. There isn't a one size fits all. And so getting yourself something quality, I think, is very, very important.
So what you're saying, the number one thing, at least one of if I were to summarize the first thing you would say is use enterprise grade solutions that are built for business. Whether you're in the office or you're still working home remotely, you want high quality enterprise grade type of products that you mentioned, whether they be speakerphones or video cameras. What would you say is the number two thing?
Yeah, I think my number two would be from a manageability. I think this is more from I'll take a break from the end user, and I'll talk about the end user more in a second. But I think it's the IT staff and how do you manage the devices as they start figuring out. A lot of organizations that I talk to, I tend to spend a lot of time on the larger enterprises, larger organizations, and how do you manage all of these devices? How do you keep track? How do you do asset management?
Right.
How do I make sure that everybody's up to date with software? How do I have analytics? So not only do you want to purchase an enterprise grade tool, but you also want to have some manageability capability so that you can do some levels of troubleshooting, so you can understand what's going on within your environment. So again, I think it's a key component is being able to manage your remote, all of these different devices as people are working from home. I think it's a critical path to success.
And Poly has two tools that I know of. They have the Poly Lens app for the desktop, so you have that capability. And then you have on top of that is the Poly Lens service, which is your cloud-based solution to do some of that asset tracking and some of that management. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, and so they work together, and so it gives you all that manageability, software updates, provisioning, analytics. Just I meet with a lot of organizations that are. If I was to rewind a year ago, saying I'm rolling out headsets to everybody in my organization, but I don't know where they're going. So how do I keep track of all of this? We had a user that bought a new headset every month for 5 months in a row. So and where do they go? Right, their kids all have these brand new nice headsets from us, and so which is great for us, but that's just not really scalable. And so being able to have some level of manageability and asset management, I think, is really critical to success.
And I think you guys are the only ones, I could be wrong, Dave, but the only ones from a manufacturing standpoint that have visibility into the portfolio of video, including webcams like the P5, all the way up to the more expensive solutions and headsets and speakerphones. So you cover your portfolio in a way so that those enterprise users, and they don't even have to be a big, large enterprise. You know, you have 50 headsets or 50 webcams out there. You want to know where they went, right? You want to know
Yep.
what's happening with them, and your solutions allow you to wrap a easy to use management tool that allows you to know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and then and again, just wrapping my head around what would I think is the third one, right? And one thing that's come, almost can't believe I'm going to say this as somebody
Say
who's
it.
been doing this for this long, but what I've found is in order to be successful working remotely, is don't work 24 hours a day. Find time for yourself. Stand up, drink water, rest your eyes. It just the more that you can find time for yourself, I think is it ultimately is going to make you much more successful.
That. Hey, Sam, listen, we're really excited that you came back. Thank you so much. Really excited about these new products. The Studio E70. I can't keep my eyes off it. I'm gonna have to send you the picture of that Android I told you about from Star Wars Episode 2. I'll find that and send it. You'll see what I mean.
Wait till you see it in action. You think you're excited now. You are going to be way more excited when you actually experience it, because it's way better than the videos that you're seeing.
Well, you know
Wow.
what, Sam? We probably have to book a demo and then probably record it so we could actually use it as a learning tool for some of our customers.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Sam. We loved having you on as always. And then, keep us up to date. Let us know when you've got some more hot toys that you can share with us, because we definitely want to share that with our audience and our customers. And if you liked today's episode, I want to invite you to join our community of like-minded individuals that want to get knowledge like this, make their organization better, improve your brand image, and sound and look amazing at the same time. Hit all those bells and whistles so that you get notified when maybe we get a sneak peek at some of the new stuff that we get from Sam. We get it in the warehouse. I know we got the 21s today, so we'll sneak it out to you if you are subscribed and notified. And just to let you know, if you stayed on, whether you're watching us live or during the playback, we have more helpful videos on the P5 and on the P15, the Poly Studio P5 and P15, as well as additional reviews and in-depth interviews that we've done as well on these particular products. So let me point in the right direction. Go ahead and check them out right over here, and I will see you on the next episode.